Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when you must stop chasing appreciation from those who refuse to see your worth. You pour your heart into relationships, friendships, and even workplaces, only to feel invisible. But here's the truth. You are not invisible. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are valuable. You are worthy, and if they don't see it, it's time to walk away. Think about it. How much energy have you wasted trying to prove your worth to people who were never ready to recognize it? How many times have you compromised your happiness just to be accepted? The answer is simple: too many. But understand this: real appreciation is never forced. It is freely given by those who truly value you. Walking away is not about anger or revenge. It is about self-respect. It is about choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and dignity over desperation. You cannot force someone to see your value, but you can refuse to let them diminish it. When you distance yourself from those who fail to appreciate you, you make room for those who do. You create space for people who respect your presence, acknowledge your efforts, and reciprocate your kindness. And that, my friends, is where true growth begins. So today, make a choice. Choose yourself. Choose to walk away from anyone who makes you feel like you are not enough. Because the right people will never make you question your worth. They will remind you of it. Self-respect is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, whether it's personal or professional. When you allow yourself to remain in spaces where you are not valued, you gradually diminish your own sense of worth. The truth is, no one else can define your value for you. It is something you must recognize and embrace within yourself. If people fail to appreciate your presence, your efforts, or your kindness, it is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It is a reflection of their inability to see your worth. Too often we find ourselves seeking validation from those who do not genuinely care. We overextend, we compromise, and we adjust ourselves to fit into their world, hoping that one day they will recognize our significance. But in doing so, we lose sight of who we truly are. We teach others how to treat us by what we tolerate. And when we stay in situations where we are taken for granted, we send a message that we are okay with being overlooked. Walking away is not an act of pride, it is an act of self-preservation. It is understanding that your time, your energy, and your emotions are too valuable to be wasted on people who do not appreciate them. You deserve to be surrounded by individuals who see your efforts, acknowledge your presence, and celebrate your contributions. The right people will never need to be convinced of your worth, so make a decision today. Choose yourself. Choose to invest in relationships that uplift you rather than drain you. You were not created to live in the shadows of someone else's indifference. Stand tall, walk away from those who fail to see your worth, and move toward those who do, because self-respect is not just an option, it is a necessity. Fuels your dreams, your ambitions, and your daily interactions. But too often, people waste this precious energy on relationships, friendships, or situations that do not serve them. When you constantly invest in people who do not appreciate you, you deplete yourself emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. Think about it. How many times have you given your best to someone who barely acknowledged your efforts? How often have you been there for others, only to realize that they would not do the same for you? The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your energy. If someone continuously takes from you without reciprocating, they are not a healthy presence in your life. You must protect your energy the same way you protect your health. Just as you wouldn't allow toxic food to harm your body, you shouldn't allow toxic people to drain your spirit. Your time and effort should be spent on those who bring value, encouragement, and positivity into your life. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, challenge you to grow, and recognize your worth without you having to prove it. Choosing where to invest your energy is an act of self-respect. When you let go of unappreciative people, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and emotional exhaustion. You create space for relationships that are fulfilling, supportive, and meaningful. The right people will never make you feel like you are giving too much and receiving too little. Well, be mindful of where your energy goes. Choose to invest in people who see you, value you, and appreciate you. Because at the end of the day, your energy is too valuable to be wasted on those who do not deserve it. Knowing your worth is not arrogance, it is self-awareness. It is understanding that you bring value to every space you enter, whether in relationships, friendships, or professional settings. Yet, too often, people find themselves in situations where they are constantly overlooked, underestimated, or taken for granted. They tolerate it because they believe that one day, those around them will recognize their efforts. But the harsh truth is, if someone does not appreciate you now, they likely never will. You cannot spend your life waiting for others to acknowledge what you already know about yourself. If someone continuously disregards your presence, dismisses your contributions, or treats you as if you are replaceable, that is a clear sign that they do not value you. And when people do not value you, they will never give you the respect, love, or recognition you deserve. It is an act of self-love, proving to yourself that you are enough, with or without their approval. The people who are meant to be in your life will never make you feel like an afterthought. They will appreciate your presence, acknowledge your contributions, and remind you of your worth, not because you ask them to, but because they truly see it. So do not waste your energy trying to convince someone of your value. Do not shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Walk away with confidence, knowing that the right people will recognize your worth without hesitation, because when you know your value, you never have to beg for appreciation. You simply go where you are celebrated. Silence is one of the most powerful responses you will ever receive. It speaks volumes about a person's priorities, their level of appreciation for you, and how much they truly value your presence in their life. When people fail to acknowledge your efforts, when they consistently overlook your contributions, or when they treat you as if you are optional, understand that their silence is not accidental, it is intentional. And that silence is your answer. Too often, we excuse the inaction of others. We tell ourselves they are busy, distracted, or unaware of how much their lack of appreciation affects us. We hold on to hope that they will one day recognize our value and treat us accordingly. But the truth is, if someone truly appreciates you, they will show it. No one is too busy to acknowledge the people they genuinely value. A simple thank you, a kind word, or a small act of recognition takes seconds. And when those things are missing, it is not a mistake, it is a choice. Instead of questioning your worth, start paying attention to the silence. The absence of appreciation, the lack of reciprocation, and the failure to acknowledge your presence are all signs that you are investing in the wrong people. And when people show you that they do not value you, believe them. You do not need to beg for appreciation. You do not need to remind people of the effort you put in. The right people will recognize your worth without constant reminders. So when silence becomes the only response you receive, take it as the answer you need. Let go, move on, and make space for those who will never allow you to feel unappreciated. Because you deserve better than indifference. You deserve recognition, respect, and gratitude. Growth is a journey that often requires separation. As you evolve, your mindset shifts, your priorities change, and your understanding of self-worth deepens. And with that growth comes the realization that not everyone is meant to continue the journey with you. Some people were only meant to be in your life for a season, and holding on to relationships that no longer serve you can stunt your progress. One of the hardest things to accept is that some of the people you care about the most may not appreciate you the way you deserve. They may take your presence for granted, minimize your contributions, or fail to recognize the energy you invest in them. But growth teaches you an important lesson. You cannot force people to see your value. You can only choose whether to stay where you are not appreciated or walk away towards something better. Separation is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It takes courage to step away from relationships, friendships, or environments that no longer align with your growth. It takes wisdom to understand that staying in a place where you are unappreciated will only limit your potential. The moment you start valuing yourself enough to walk away, you create space for new opportunities, healthier connections, and a stronger sense of self-respect. Walking away is not about bitterness or resentment. It is about prioritizing your own well-being. It is about understanding that you deserve relationships where appreciation is mutual, respect is given freely, and your presence is valued. Growth requires letting go of anything that holds you back, including people who do not see your worth. And when you choose yourself, you step into a future filled with the recognition, love, and appreciation you truly deserve. Every healthy relationship, whether personal, professional, or social, is built on the foundation of mutual appreciation. When you give your time, energy, and support to others, it is natural to expect some level of acknowledgement in return. This is not about seeking validation or praise. It is about basic human respect. When appreciation is absent, it creates an imbalance, making the relationship one-sided and emotionally exhausting. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve to be in relationships where your efforts are valued, where your presence is acknowledged, and where your kindness is not mistaken for obligation. When someone truly appreciates you, they will not wait until you are gone to express it. They will show it in their actions, their words, and the way they treat you daily. When you choose to surround yourself with those who reciprocate your efforts, you create a life filled with meaningful, uplifting, and supportive connections. So do not settle for relationships where your presence is unnoticed, your efforts are ignored, or your kindness is taken for granted. Choose reciprocity. Choose to be in spaces where you are valued, respected, and truly appreciated, because you deserve nothing less. The right people will never make you feel invisible. They will never make you question your worth or wonder if your presence truly matters. Instead, they will appreciate you, uplift you, and remind you of the value you bring to their lives, not because you ask them to, but because they genuinely see it. Too often, people waste time trying to gain recognition from the wrong individuals. They chase appreciation from those who refuse to acknowledge them, hoping that one day their efforts will finally be noticed. But the truth is, you should never have to fight for a place in someone's life. When people genuinely value you, their actions will show it. They will make an effort to include you, acknowledge you, and remind you that you matter. You deserve to be surrounded by people who celebrate you, not just tolerate you. The right people will respect your presence, cherish your support, and recognize your contributions without needing reminders. They will make time for you, listen to you, and appreciate the role you play in their lives. And most importantly, they will never make you feel like you have to prove your worth. If you find yourself constantly questioning where you stand with someone, take a step back and reassess. The people who truly belong in your life will never leave you feeling unappreciated. They will never make you feel like an option or an afterthought. Instead, they will cherish your presence and remind you through their words and actions that you are valued. who stop chasing appreciation from those who refuse to give it. Walk away from anyone who makes you feel unseen. The right people will always see you, appreciate you, and remind you of your worth. Because that is what true connection is all about.